Hello everyone, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Civil War Generals 2, a 1990s classic by Sierra Games, or Sierra Entertainment, which is a turn-based tactical Civil War game that allows you to play a wide variety of battles throughout the historical American Civil War, as well as some variants. In our last episode, we wrapped up the victory of the Battle of Bull Run, and we absolutely routed the Union. In this video, we are going to play through in the Battle of Kernstown. So I put it up to you guys what you wanted to see, whether you wanted to see me move west toward the Battle of Shiloh, or whether you wanted to see me fight the Battle of Kernstown and stay in the east. And this is one of those Panzer General-like branching moments where you get to kind of choose the path forward for your campaign, and in today's video, we're going to go down the Kernstown route. Now, Kernstown. The Confederates brought 3,700 men to Kernstown on an erroneous report that they outnumbered the Federals. In fact, the Union forces exceeded 8,500 men. The rebels absorbed 718 casualties. The Union lost 590. Kernstown was the only battle recorded as lost by Stonewall Jackson. Now, those of you may remember, Stonewall Jackson went down with a grievous wound in our last battle. You can see here, actually, this is a slightly different variant of the field hospital report than last time when we kind of blitzed through this, and it basically tells me there's some level of randomness to how injuries play out. If you remember, Jackson was granted furlough at the end of the last battle the first time around, but this time around it says his health is serious but improving. R.C.W. Radford died in combat, on the other hand. Meanwhile, Wade Hampton promoted to Brigadier General, Julian Harrison promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, H.G. Latham and G.H. Pendleton are now majors, Beckham is now a captain. We have 3 new Brigadier Generals in F.S. Bardo, A. Elizy, and Jeb Stewart. We also have 2 new majors in T. Case and W.R. Terry, and P.G.T. Beauregard and Joseph E. Johnson are both now major generals. Colonel Pepper has temporarily assumed command of the Stonewall Brigade due to the hospitalization of Colonel Thomas J. Jackson. Interestingly enough, also Jackson was not promoted. Colonel R.C.W. Radford of Radford's Cavalry Brigade suffered a mortal wound while courageously leading his troops in battle. His unit is now led by Colonel T.T. Mumford. Colonel T.T. Mumford has been transferred to take command of Radford's Cavalry Brigade, which will now be known as Mumford's Brigade. So that's the situation there. Meanwhile, out of the last battle, we have 437,000 points to allocate to our troops to give them better weapons. We're going to focus on Joseph E. Johnston's Army of the Shenandoah because I'm assuming, at the very least, that Jackson's brigade is going to be involved in the Valley campaign. So we're going to focus our efforts there since that is the next battle that we're fighting. First off, we're going to replace Pendleton's battery of number 6 smoothbore guns, 6-pounders, with some Whitworth rifles. So they don't hit quite as hard as some of the other weapons, even the number 6 gun, but they have incredible range at 14. Nothing else comes even remotely close. These are British breech-loading Whitworth rifles. The Confederacy historically, I think, had 6 or 7 of them in total, but these were sort of revolutionary guns. So we're going to go ahead and give those to Whitworth. His firepower decreases, but again, he gets that better range. Meanwhile, Beckham's battalion is going to move from number 6 guns, I think, to Napoleon smoothbores. Very deadly from a personnel perspective, although their range is a little bit limited. Interestingly enough, the 3-inch ordnance rifle, which is the primary rifled gun of the Civil War, only has 1 more range than the Napoleon. I don't know if Napoleons sort of fade off more quickly, if like at range 8, are they much less deadly than 3-inch ordnance rifles at range 8, but they're better at range 2. I'm not really sure how that all works, but nonetheless, that's the situation there. Meanwhile, for the infantry units here, Pepper's Stonewall Brigade currently has Enfield rifled muskets. We could look at upgrading them slightly, either to M.J. Gardner rifles or 41 Mississippi rifles. The Mississippi is an older weapon, but maybe it's slightly more accurate. I'm not quite sure here. It says its hit points are 75, and it's WP. I'm not quite sure what that is. You can see here the 6582 for the Enfield. 6582. So it looks like the MJ Gardner is a little bit better in both categories, whereas the Mississippi is only better in WP. It's actually worse in HH. So I'm not quite sure what that means. Hand-to-hand, maybe? But you can see here the MJ Gardner is actually slightly better, so we'll upgrade to that. We'll get a little bit better firepower. Meanwhile, Bartow's brigade is currently using 69 caliber farmers muskets. We're going to go ahead and upgrade them to Enfield rifled muskets, and we're going to see their firepower nearly triple. We're going to do the same for B's brigade, the famous B. There stands Jackson standing like a stone doe. He just got shot. All right, so you can see his firepower also went way up from 16 to 39. And then we're going to send Elizy's brigade also using farmers muskets. We're going to upgrade them to Enfield rifled muskets as well, which is going to bring them up to 33 firepower. Stewart's cavalry brigade is going to upgrade to Maynard carbines, although that won't really have much of a difference. And that is all of Johnston's Shenandoah army is now upgraded. Meanwhile, if we move back to PGT Beauregard's command, we can't really upgrade as many of these guys. I'm surprised Longstreet actually didn't get promoted after what he did in his last battle. In any event, we're going to give him some reward by upgrading him to Enfield rifled muskets. I'd also like to get Ewell's brigade upgraded to Enfield rifles muskets as well. Even just upgrading from the Lorenz, that's a pretty big upgrade, according to the game. And that kind of spends all our money. So we have a little bit left. I don't know if maybe an artillery brigade or something. Or actually, these guys have... we can't do that. What about any smaller commands? Actually, these guys only have 963 men. Surely we can upgrade them to something. No? No, we can't. Cavalry? Can we upgrade these guys? No, we can't. Well, what can we do? Nothing? Nothing with our $2,400? Maybe upgrade some artillery? Not even. Not even! Alright, well, that's going to be it for that then. So weapon purchase is complete, and now we're fighting the Battle of Kernstown. Says Stonewall Jackson, he is wounded, so no, he's not in here. The historical Battle of Kernstown. The rebels should try to lure the Union away from the hilltops. If they can, they should be able to defeat the Union forces one at a time. The Federals need only to wait for the rebels to attempt to attack the hilltops. Once they commit to an attack, the Union should easily dispatch them. So basically, if we can get the Union to come to us, we can defeat them in detail as they come up. If we go to the Union will defeat us. This first battle of the Valley Campaign is recorded as being lost by Stonewall Jackson, but even in defeat, Jackson's threat caused President Lincoln to commit 35,000 men to defend the approaches from the Valley to Washington. Major General George McClellan blamed the siphoning of potential reinforcements for his failure to capture Richmond during his Peninsular Campaign. The Confederates brought 3,700 men to Kernstown on an erroneous report that they outnumbered the Federals. In fact, the Union force exceeded 8,500 men. The rebels absorbed 718 casualties. The Union lost 590. All right, so this is a one-day battle. It's a 23-turn battle. And you can see here we actually have some horse artillery here. That's what these guys look like. They can actually limber and unlimber, I believe, in the same turn as they fight, which is a little bit different than other artillery. There are 3-inch horse artillery units, so you can see it's kind of like a sawed-off shotgun to an extent. It's a sawed-off barrel. It weighs less. It's easier to move for horses, but it's not as accurate or anything like that. Okay, so let's zoom out here. We can see this is Kernstown. These are the hills to the north of Kernstown that we're presuming the Federals are going to occupy. So we'll go ahead and move our cavalry forward here. I mean, it might make some sense to see if we can just rush forward and take the objectives. Seeing as it looks like there's no Federals on those hills. If I could just take a position on one of these hills and potentially have a nice defensive position there, that might be an interesting decision. So we'll go ahead and do that. We moved all of our troops here right away. We'll see what the Federals do. We have additional reinforcements coming up. So we're going to move these troops over here. Can we actually move up to Pritchard's Hill? We can. Holy crap. I don't like the idea of what I'm doing. I'm kind of being suckered into dividing my force, but it seems like we actually have pretty big advantage here. We might be able to take these hills. I still have seen no Federals here as more of our troops continue to arrive on the field. All right, so we're going to put the 17th Virginia, which has MJ Gardners here, up on this objective here and move them into line formation. And then we're going to just kind of spread our line out to try and reach to Pritchard's Hill. We can see the Federals are coming up here. We've got a couple of strong units here, the 8th Ohio and the 84th Pennsylvania Reserve. We'll move our horse artillery onto Pritchard's Hill here on the left. 2nd Virginia, armed with Mississippi rifles, are going to take position here on Pritchard's Hill itself. And then the 4th Virginia, which has 1861 Richmonds, which are basically copies of the 1861 Springfield, will be in the worst position. These guys are going to be on the lowland, the roadway, between the two hilltop positions. And so that actually gives them, the fact that they've got some of our best weapons is probably a good thing. I'd actually rather pull, I'm going to pull this 37th Virginia Regiment back. This is a regimental-sized battle, by the way. Bull Run was a brigade-sized battle where every unit represented a brigade. This battle is a regimental. And you can see here, this regiment has MJ Gardner rifles, so very good weapons. We're going to pull the 37th Virginia back. They're armed with smoothbores, and we'll use them as a little bit of a reserve.
No, sir.
The Palmetto is basically a smoothbore as well, so some of these new troops coming on don't have as good a weapon. All right, so I'm going to kind of keep the cavalry back here. We'll see what the Federals do. They're moving their artillery like right up into range of our cavalry here. What are they doing? All right, let's have these infantry start digging in. Granted, it's open ground, but it is elevated ground, so that should help. Give our boys a little bit of a rest before the main fight comes, too. We'll move them into battle line. I'm going to move this brigade commander off here to the right to form a reserve on the right. And then we're going to move the 21st Virginia to the left to form a reserve on the left. I really wish we had more artillery. That's the main thing, kind of that might be a game changer. Meanwhile, the Union look like they're just kind of lollygagging their artillery on the way over. So the first things first, we're going to go ahead and hit this Napoleon battery here with our horse artillery. You can see the little mini horse gun there. You can see it's much smaller. Inflicted a fair amount of casualties. Now we're going to go ahead and have the 7th Virginia, which has CBT musketoons under Ashby. We're going to have him charge down on this battery of artillery, and he's going to drive them back. He has enough wherewithal to be able to pull back. You can see the 4th U.S. Artillery is wrecked for at least a while. And so one of their 5 batteries of artillery is basically out of commission here. So go ahead and fast forward a little bit more. Their artillery will focus on our cavalry, no doubt. Ashby took a little bit of a blow. Let's rout this artillery battery. So we did that. We routed the artillery battery, which also happens to be the battery commanded by their battery commander. We'll go ahead and move this guy to refuse the flank a little bit. We'll go ahead and dig all these guys in. So the one thing that's really going to hurt us is the fact that we're in open ground, and they have a predominance of artillery. So we're going to go ahead and hit the one limbered up artillery battery, because we can do a little bit of damage to them. It's really about sort of taking the teeth out of their guns as much as we can, I think, at this stage. And so we've got our troops largely in position, but again, you see these, our troops are all single or double ranked. You can see their infantry is almost all triple ranked, which means they have a huge preponderance in manpower, as the game says. Meanwhile, their artillery is going to focus on our cavalry, inflicting some pretty grievous losses against Ashby. Oh! Alright. So Ashby, you're going to have your cavalry fall back because you can't survive there. And then the horse artillery here. Do we want to focus on the enemy guns to try and take a little bit more of their strength? We'll try and bombard these guys. Alright, so continuing to rest up with our troops. Again, the one saving grace is that most of the troops that we have in line here in the front line are equipped with very good weapons. The second line troops, not as much, but I'll probably use them in a more counterattacking role. So hopefully that matters less. And we'll see here. The Union has some pretty good firepower, although, again, our front-ranked units, they've got good firepower, too. It's just a question of whether their artillery is going to concentrate and kind of break a hole in our line. If they concentrate on one target, like they are right here on the 33rd Virginia, although they just spread their fire a bit, then we'll have a chance to hold out. They just attacked the 2nd Virginia. Our artillery aided in the defense, and the defenders did a little bit better than the attackers there. You can see here more Federals are coming up on our right flank.
At ease, man. At ease, man. At ease, man.
Okay. We want to hit whatever is going to do the most damage to us. So we're going to go ahead and use our horse artillery at point-blank range here against the 67th Ohio. Take a little bit of blood out of them. We'll fall back the 2nd Virginia, and then we'll move the 20th or the 33rd in here on top of that hill. We'll have the cavalry continue to reform. And then actually, I'm going to go ahead and... I'm hoping they move a unit in here. I opened up a hole in my line, but that might actually give us a bit of an edge, actually. We'll see.
At ease, man.
All right. All right, so the enemy is attacking here, our troops that are up on the top of this hill, hitting us hard with artillery, couple of enemy bombardments here, a 3rd enemy bombardment against this. We can counter-battery at least this one enemy unit, and a 4th one here against the 4th Virginia in the middle. Wow, they went right through our lines, right through the gap to try and hit the rear unit here, R.P. Carson's 37th Virginia. And the defender didn't fare so well there, so we'll see how that plays. Meanwhile, the defender didn't fare well either on this other flank. And it looks like we're going to be overwhelmed. We are losing every one of these engagements from a casualty perspective. We did get some additional artillery, which just showed up, which we need badly. So we'll go ahead and get them sent up. I can't unlimber them this turn, so they're going to be a couple of turns in being able to fight. So I think these guys... Geez, this artillery needs to pull back. But they can't. In that event, we'll just dig them in and pray. Same for this infantry. We'll go ahead and bend the 21st. I don't know if I can do that. Can't charge there either. I mean, we could. Probably be ill-advised. But we're going to do it. We're going to take the Army morale hit. We're going to charge Patrick's Ohio Regiment. We drove them back. Nice. The defender lost way worse than the attacker in that case.
No, sir.
All right. I'm going on the offensive here on the right flank, mainly to distract the enemy and hopefully change them to pivot. Both these guys are... Let's see here. So hopefully they're going to counterattack against the 42nd Virginia, which just opened up a bit of a hole in their own lines. Okay, these guys are at 24. I think we'll charge them. We'll lose worse there in that first attack. But the hope is that over the course of the day,
no, sir,
we can drive them back here. There we go. We drove them back on that second charge. Didn't quite do as much damage as I had hoped. We'll have a 3rd charge go against the 13th New Indiana. Drive them back. And so the 13th Indiana is basically wrecked. 62nd Ohio, can we drive them back too? No. And so we lost worse than we gave. Versus them. So there's that. Great. Pull these guys back. Refresh. I don't really know what to expect this next turn because our units are all kind of divided and broken up a bit. We did really batter the 13th Indiana and the 5th Ohio. Both of those units are out of ammo for them, so neither one of them can attack. Neither one of them is in good enough shape to attack. It did give us the victory point advantage. We also control all the victory hexes, but that's a temporary thing, I suspect. We'll see how this next one goes. Okay, they're focusing on the breakthrough here of the 42nd Virginia. 4 artillery batteries hitting them. And then they're instantly going to attack. The defender is losing from the start, getting very bloodied. The third attack did drive them back to the north. Fourth, I'm surprised they haven't routed yet. There they go. Fifth attack routed them. The only positive there is it did kind of completely divert the enemy. So there's that. Can we... It'd be really interesting if we could eliminate one of their units. Can we drive the 8th Ohio back any chance? Trying to convince my men to keep charging. I'm hoping, beyond hope, that somehow they break through. They didn't manage it. Let's try one more charge. Nope, they routed. That failed. God damn it. Well, shit. Can we move up here? Like, maybe? I mean, the 8th Ohio is in pretty rough shape. I really would like to pull these horse artillery back. I mean, we can try and have them charge here. They're gonna break if they don't drive the Federals back. They did! Oh, thank God I didn't lose another regiment routed. Alright. Attack. Yes! We forced an enemy regiment to surrender. Well, that evens things up a bit. I mean, not really. We're still not in great shape. That artillery is going to get routed next turn. My morale is rapidly plummeting. My troops are like, so, this battle thing. Not going so good for us, huh? Nonetheless, that is, again, a temporary victory there for us. We're losing way more in the casualty department. But at least in the victory point department, I mean, we just forced 400 Union troops to become prisoners of war. So go ahead and... I have one untouched unit, don't I? Over here. Relatively untouched. This cavalry will continue to rest and resupply, and we'll go ahead and end this turn. So it's all about the damn enemy artillery, but if they want to keep shooting their guns at routed troops, by all means, waste your artillery there. Now you're focusing on actually good units. And then they drive back the field guns there. But they pull those guys back. Yes, actually I wanted them to succeed on that attack. Okay, so this is interesting. So these guys, despite all the bombardment they took, it said they're going to reform. I don't know. But the 84th Pennsylvania now has attacked and driven back one of our units. Here's the thing, though. They have somewhat exposed themselves. Holy cow, 15 firepower? Really? All right, well, let's do this. Let's bombard. We now have the 84th Pennsylvania surrounded. So we'll bombard them with artillery first. None of our units are really going to be all that good at attacking. We'll attack them with a 12 firepower unit. Actually, we didn't do too bad on that engagement. We'll attack them with an 11. So we're coming in from behind now. We still lost more men than them, interestingly enough. Right, so the defensive volley stopped us there. Can any of these other units attack? Doesn't look like it. This guy might. Oh, they won't. let's charge with Ashby against these guys. And we can't force them to surrender. God damn it. That was my big play. Was to try and force them to surrender. Well, that cavalry charge failed. The 84th was battered, but probably not enough. I mean, they're probably going to break him out this next turn. They're going to focus everything on the 23rd. They'll attack the 23rd. They'll drive the 23rd back. That looks to be assured. Yep. Just like that, the 84th is saved. And my army is basically toast. Is there any way I can... Is there anything I can do? No. Nope. Can't even tell those guys where to attack. Shit. Nobody wants to fight anymore. Well, we can bombard those guys. We're retreating. I should have set a defensive position up in Kernstown or something. I don't know. Pull back. Fear. Run for your life. Oh, you're running the wrong way, dude. At least you took the objectives, I guess. Maybe that will distract them as we retreat. We need supply for those guys. Run away, run away, run back toward your homes and your farms. Run away, run away. Get the hell out of Dodge. All right. It's the damn Union artillery. That was the whole thing. All right, so we'll end that turn. We'll see how we hold up here against continued Union trashing. And I think what we'll do is we will withdraw from the fight entirely. We can actually retreat off the map if we can get our troops back. And the reason is not to, I'm not going to win, but maybe I can salvage some of these units. The carryover losses of commanders or equipment or other things hopefully are not too devastating. All right, those guys are going to fight a rear guard action. The Irish regiment should probably also do that. Retreat. Retreat. We'll have Ashby try and reform. All right. That'll do that. All right, enter. So we're going to focus on the Irish Brigade because they're, or the Irish Regiment because they're unlimbered, or they're in column formation, sorry. Defending General Pepper. No, the commander of the Stonewall Brigade has been lost again. You guys, this brigade is not going to be known as the Stonewall Brigade. They're going to be known as the Cursed Brigade. I mean, right now it's a Stonewall-less Stonewall Brigade, but...
No, sir.
Get the hell out of Dodge. A 20-mile run, a 20-mile run. All right. Everybody run. They were running. Okay. So they're all running there. And these guys are pulling up. Oh, there's objectives on the west? I should have gone over here. I should have gone to this ridge line over here near Sandy Ridge. That would have been the place to hold. Look at this gigantic elevation. That would have been a huge slope for them to have to move up. That was the place to defend. Not Kernstown itself. Foolish me. That's what you get for not actually looking at the map very closely. Alright, so those troops are going to run back to their farms. So are these troops, once we get them back there. Okay. Maybe we can distract the enemy by these troops kind of running over some objective points. Give us some further claim to hanging in there. Alright, so they're all running. Our running is almost outstripping the enemy's pursuit. Alright, so one of the regiments has retreated. I think we'll put the 27th. We're going to put some of these units into formation. Yes, we'll spend 30 victory points to get them off map. Same for these guys. So it costs 30 victory points to retreat off the map. So we just pulled 3 regiments back. Alright, meanwhile, maybe these guys are taking objectives that are worth 30 points? I'm not sure. Does it tell me how much a victory point's worth? No. What's the current tally? 715 for them versus 598 for us. So it was basically even before we withdrew all those troops. Alright, so unlimber those troops. They're kind of in the best shape of any of the troops we have. Some of these guys may be willing to fight. I'd love to have more, you know, to give them more of a fight here if we could. Alright, we took that victory point. Brings us up to 609. So it's kind of like, oh, you've got all these victory points, but you've abandoned the map. So is that, what kind of defeat is that? I don't know. Alright, so we're setting up again at the very rear of the map. I'm going to see if the 4th Virginia wants to march towards some of these objectives. Maybe we can take some stuff in the Union rear. Okay, some of these guys are starting to get in better shape. Good enough shape to at least hold out against a single attack, maybe. Probably not an enemy artillery battery fire. But maybe they can do some counter battery fire. Defending generals wounded. Nope. More generals lost. More casualties lost. Great, now I can't even retreat off the map. Fuck.
At ease, man. At ease, man. At ease, man.
Alright, so actually it looks like the majority of them are coming in this way. So I'm going to try and just sweep in and take all these victory points in the rear. Nope. Oh, there's another evac point over there to the west. We're going to need that. Just like that, our defenders fold at the first enemy attack. Good job absorbing some hits, though, I guess. Before routing. Alright, so 4 more turns. Another 2 more brigades have run. These guys are astride our line of retreat. Army morale is plummeting. And the 4th Virginia is going to save the day. They're going to take multiple... Oh, no, they can't move anymore. Alright, well, just stay there then. 2 more victory points were taken by them, however. So we actually control more of the map's victory points. And if you factor in captured men, casualties are actually still pretty even. Although the victory points definitely belong to the Union.
Get the hell out of there. All right. Oh no, they're hitting our troops in column on the objectives. Oh, they routed our cavalry. And there goes our guns. How many more turns do we have left? Like 2? Come on. Alright, maybe I should just admit defeat. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. Oh my god, stop murdering us. This is decisively, not just like, oh, the Confederates miscalculated and lost. This is like disastrously bad.
Man.
Alright, they're trying to move. They're in good enough shape to move. At least 2 of our units are. All this bombarding of helpless horses. Don't hurt the horses. God, I'm sure this is making for great viewing. Watch as THG gets trounced on this episode of The Historical Gamer. The Historical Gamer's army gets absolutely ravaged. Tune in next time to find out. Can I move these guys? Nope. Still can't move.
At ease, man.
Maybe they can move next turn. Run away that way. Run away this way. Run away always. All right. Routed troops still getting hit by artillery. I feel bad for these horsemen and these troops. They're just riding and running all over, and there's nothing they can do about it. It's just like continuing to get pounded. It's like a very large man beating up. Just bad things.
At ease, man.
Bad things are happening. All right, where are we at right now? They've got triple our victory points. We still hold some of the victory objectives, though. At some point, troops will desert if their morale drops too low. It'll just say, like, not just run off the map type desert, but it'll actually say, you know, this unit's had enough, and they've all deserted. I think more often than not, it happens when a unit is surrounded with low morale, and they are hit by artillery, and artillery can't force you to surrender, but it can... Oh, you retreated the wrong way, dummies. It can't force you to surrender, but it can cause you to disperse. Whereas, you know, the likelihood of a routed unit just completely deserting when they're hit and they're not surrounded is generally very low. Although I think I've seen it happen once or twice. No, they're taking back all the objectives. All right. That was bad. We'll call this THG save. There's Robert E. Lee, post-angle. Post, this is obviously a portrait after Pickett's charge. Confederacy has suffered a minor defeat. It was only a minor defeat, and I think the reason it was a minor defeat is casualties. We lost 120 men more killed. We lost 240 men more wounded. However, all told, that's about 360 men. We captured 414, so actually the Union lost more men. Additionally, we still had over 600 victory points. They had almost triple ours, but not quite triple ours, and we had more victory points taken from victory hexes. So at the end of the day, we kind of held the battlefield to some extent. Obviously not in a real sense. Anyway, we lost 2 leaders killed. We can see here that J. Pleasance and Battery Leader 0 both died in combat. Thomas J. Jackson has been granted furlough. His health recovered to 92. So that's good. So Lieutenant Battery Leader 1 is now leading Lieutenant J. Pleasance artillery battery, and Lieutenant Battery 0 has been killed, and so he's now being led by Lieutenant Battery Leader number 1. Usually I thought they had a little bit more depth to their commanders, but maybe some of these smaller battles you don't really see it. Couple of promotions. So T. Ashby, the cavalry commander there, was promoted to Brigadier General. We've got Burks, who was also promoted to Brigadier General, and R.B. Garnett of the Stonewall Brigade was promoted to Major General. Interesting. So Commander, it's R.B. Garnett was the defeated party in this battle, not General Jackson. We didn't really get much in the way of weapons that we captured that we can do much with. We do have, I think, one unit here that can upgrade probably to something meaningful. So probably like the Texas Tyler, not even. I guess we can go to Palmettos. I wonder if there's any point in upgrading Burke's Brigade. Fulkerson also has very bad weapons, but he's a smaller unit. So we can actually upgrade him to Lorenz's. That'll be somewhat meaningful, almost doubling his firepower. Some of these other units, not really much we can do. So, yeah, that'll be that. And then the next battle will be the historical Battle of McDowell. So we lost the last battle as we did historically, and so the next battle will be the Battle of McDowell, but that will be for next time. This was a rare example of me just getting absolutely smashed, and we'll see how things play out next time. This next video probably won't come out till Thursday for Civil War Generals 2. I didn't have a lot of free time on Saturday, so I played this because this is one of those easy games to play and kind of talk about while you play. But we'll probably look at War in the Pacific, I would guess, on Monday or Tuesday. We need to get back to Strategic Command for an episode, and then also a couple other things still in the slate. Close Combat is coming out here soon. So a bunch of other things in the docket. Hope you guys are enjoying this series. Sorry if this one wasn't a little bit more entertaining, but hey, you got to see a Confederate defeat. Until next time, though, guys, once again, thank you very much for watching, and this is the Historical Gamer, signing out.